Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Simon Benson, I'm CEO and founder of Levaux. Levaux is a team of 14 people and we're in the IoT space of built environments. So what's the problem we're trying to solve in a built environment? We call this the 5,500, 5,000 rule. What it represents is the cost per square metre per year for the energy, property and people. And as you can see from this, there are greater savings to be made from the utilisation of the space and the productivity of people in that space. So how do we solve this problem? Levaux makes a full vertical IoT solution. We make our own cloud, we make our own hardware, but our real intellectual property is in the middleware. We use RPC middleware based on my doctoral research and the core competency of our team in aerospace military communications. So our engineers, 6 engineers, we also make hardware. Our hardware also records metrics in the environment, but we also control locally through metrics in the building. Now, our differentiator is that in the cloud, we can create a visual workflow that hook these metrics up, an IFTT doctrine. The doctrine's pushed into the silicon, and now the sensor acts autonomously on a 7-day schedule. And also the ability to do edge computing. So now these sensors are talking to each other. So the value proposition, what are these sensors doing? The sensors, we use the lighting in the building as a Trojan horse to deploy the sensors. They do lighting, daylight harvesting, controlling, dimming, metering the energy. Safety, we put the sensors in emergency lighting products. We can do autonomous compliance checks in the building, pushing the certificates up to the cloud. Climate, we're looking at all these metric information, environmental parameters about the building, heat maps, feed it back into the BMS, control the climate. Security, each of our sensors has Bluetooth tags inside. We can now track people as they move through, not just people, but also assets. And with all this information, we can utilise the space better for the building owner. So we have products ready to go now to realise this. 6 products in lighting and emergency. We make our own plastic, we make our own PCBs, we do it all. So what's the market size for this? We've done independent research with BDO and they worked out there is 300 million square metres of commercial space in Asia and Australia. How are we going to realise this? We are going to offer to our clients a zero capital option. We give away the hardware. We get a recurring fee for the service and we get also a percentage cut by basically taking savings of what our clients get. So this is the Senseagent system. We create intelligent environments and we realise value for our building owners and operators. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you for sticking to time. So we get any questions for Simon?
I'd like to know, how did you come up with the idea for the business model?
It was quite strange. We pivoted a couple of times. The focus initially was energy, and that was my mindset. And it wasn't until someone pointed out to me the tracking capability and the utilisation, and as you can see from the 5,000 rule, what is really important to building owners, that energy is such a small piece.
So you talked about, you started with lighting and then you added on all those other things. What is the ultimate value that you're creating for your clients? And who is the client? Is the client the building manager?
The building owner and the tenant mostly.
And its tenant.
So the building owner will actually do a base fit and they want to put this kind of technology in to make it attractive for the lease. And the person obviously in that space, depending on what their contract is, will realise value. But most of this is about understanding how their people are operating in that space and how they can work better. For instance, the Bluetooth tracking, understanding how they're moving about in that space, and productivity cases around how is a manager working and interacting with their people and looking at tracking information, doing time and motion studies. It's one of the weird things, but productivity is just so much larger than energy.
Okay, so what does your system do to help that productivity?
It's one of the metrics that's coming out of our sensors, and through that we're analysing that in the cloud and feeding that back to the building owner or the tenant to sort of say, this is where you are losing money in your building, and the risk is on us because we're giving away the hardware for free. We are motivated to find these savings for our client.
Yeah.
So you develop both the hardware, the system, software, the whole thing?
The communications where we initially started, we had a unique intellectual property with regards to how sensors are cooked up. We believe in RPC, not message-based. And then we went, well, we better put some hardware on the end of that because we're electrical engineers, that wasn't too difficult. And here we are in the building space now.
So just talk to me about the thought process behind building your own hardware. Is there no suppliers out there that do what you do today, so you have to do it yourself?
It's a great question. There are silos in lighting and companies that just do that and build an interface. And now they suddenly realise, well, that's just energy. We've got to do more. By having a totally abstracted data path and a firmware system that we can control by workflow from the cloud, it gives us to move very, very quickly into multiple products rapidly. And that's where, yes, there are providers for lighting. Yes, there are providers for utilisation and booking of rooms. But there isn't anything that does it all, as well as looking at the environmental parameters in the building that will feed back into the building management system. And that's the problem. You end up with 3 or 4 vendors for a building, and it's quite difficult to manage.
Okay. Well, I think that is time.
Yeah,
Thank
great,
you,
thank
Simon.
you.
Good job.